Greetings. My name's Michael Hunt with Metro Water Services Stormwater Group. I've been asked today by WEF to give a brief video presentation relating to the fact our program was fortunate enough to win the 2020 Phase 1 MS4 Permit Innovation Award from WEF, for which we're very appreciative. Wanted to give you a little bit of information about Metro today and then also go over some of the innovative practices, some more so than others, that Metro Nashville Stormwater MS4 has done over the years as part of our program. A little bit about Metro Water Services and Metro Water Services Stormwater. We're a water, sewer, stormwater utility, and our mindset on water resource management is to look at it from a one water perspective. So to us, water management, water resource management is tied together among those three entities. So we're continuing to look for synergy and ways that we can work together as it relates to water management in Metro Nashville, and I think that has over time played a large role in benefiting our MS4 program as we move forward. A little bit about Nashville. Thinking most people have heard of Nashville, but maybe a little bit more information. We are a city-county government, a municipality. Our permit area is roughly 500 square miles, so we are faced with some logistical challenges. We do have a major river running through the heart of Nashville called the Cumberland River, and we also have many other various rivers and streams located within our jurisdiction. WEF had asked us today, given our recognition, to cover a few of the innovative practices that we have employed over time. I went through and I made a list of some of the things we've done. Some of you may find these more innovative than others, but I did want to take this brief time to just go over some of the things we've done in the event it might be helpful to some of you. Going back to the very beginning of our program, one of the first things that we did from an innovation perspective several years ago was to work with our local law enforcement agency and some helicopter resources that they had that included a FLIR thermography camera that enables you to see thermal images of water. So when you fly over, let's say, a river, if there is a heated plume coming into that river, you can see it. So there was some synergy there, and that they needed the training hours, and we needed to know if there were any unknown illicit discharges in our rivers and streams. So we partnered with them and helped fund a little bit of equipment, and our staff went up with them, and we started a process where we fly the county's rivers periodically and on a certain rotation to look and see if there are any unknown illicits. The good news on that was we've never really found a lot of illicit discharges. Even better news is we have found some things that we didn't really envision finding, which related to some potable water leaks. I know on one occasion we found a leaking reservoir valve that had been the source of some investigation from those folks over time, so they were glad when we related that information to them and sort of helped them get to the root of their problem. We do continue that program as weather allows during leaf off in the winter. It's better to do that program in the cold because it helps differentiate the temperatures better. But that has been a benefit to us as far as making sure that our rivers and streams aren't getting any illicits. One thing on that we did have to do was note groundwater inputs because those show up a little bit as a thermal plume as well. One of the other things that we have done recently is to put together a way to try to quantify the benefits of our MS4 program. Those of you that have MS4 programs know that you're doing things every day that you know is benefiting your community, but sometimes it's a struggle to quantify exactly what those benefits are. So if you're stopping an illicit discharge of pollutants, or you're addressing a spill, not allowing material to get into your system, you know you're helping the system, but it's hard to quantify that. And we're putting together a resource, sort of a cloud resource, on the cloud resource, where we're going in and we're inputting numbers to try to do a better job of quantifying what exactly our pollution reduction numbers are. And not only that, but trying to realize what's the biggest bang for our buck as far as pollution removal and the programs that we endeavor to perform. As many of you probably know, one of the things that always scores well on that type of analysis is street sweeping. The dollar per pound removed is generally very favorable, and we're hoping that this particular tool will help show us more so what's working with our program and what's not. One other thing that recently was put together in Metro was an enhanced urban forestry coordination effort when the powers to be got together and started looking at how urban canopy and urban forest was managed in Metro. There were a lot of people doing different things in different departments, so it was thought we needed some coordination. And given the fact that trees are a tremendous benefit to stormwater, the determination was made that that would reside within stormwater. So while we're not over all the tree activities, we're more of a facilitator. And obviously, the more we can preserve and maintain our tree canopy, that's a very big positive for stormwater management within our county. Another item that was put together recently, about a couple of years ago, was our local soil conservation district was a department of one. So again, the powers to be began looking at that and thought, if we can put them in an existing office and let some existing administrative staff look at and handle those sorts of things, that person in that group can do the things that they need to do more effectively. And from an MS4 permit perspective, as you probably know, it's the ag interest in a county or in a jurisdiction is sometimes not as much involved. So this has given us a little bit more of a holistic way to help improve water quality within our jurisdiction, and it's worked out very well so far, and we feel like we're getting better coverage in that area than we had before. Something that's not necessarily all that unusual, but something that we do here, we have adopt a drain programs where folks can monitor their local storm drain safely and let us know if there are any issues. We have an adopt a stream program. We also have a formal arrangement with a local nonprofit to help us do some of the things that need to be done that aren't as necessarily conducive to a government entity doing, such as stream cleanups on private property and some of those things that are routine needs within the community. Another project that we've been involved with lately involves when we find bacteria levels in streams that are above acceptable criteria. We have the ability to run a test in-house called a PCR test that lets us know the general distinction if the source of that is likely to be human or non-human. And we have several streams where over time it has been shown that there aren't human inputs, but the values are still high. This next gen project is looking to see if we can maybe do some species identification as far as what might be the main contributors. That's still in progress, so we don't know where that's going to end up, but it is something that we're pursuing and feel like it's important. One thing that we have done that's a little bit extraneous to MS4 permits, but that we feel is important, we've made a concerted effort to work with our state environmental department to try to get streams delisted in Metro. The benefit of that, obviously, if a stream is not on the 303D list, it eliminates a lot of TMDLs for your region, for your MS4. So we've gotten several miles of stream delisted within Metro Nashville. And we continue that effort, and we'll continue that effort into the future. Lately, we have been putting a lot more emphasis on the maintenance of stormwater control measures that are put in by development to help address post-construction stormwater quality issues. And one of the things that we ran into was a lot of those owners didn't realize their obligations. Some didn't even realize they had a stormwater control measure. So we worked with our GIS staff, and we have put a GIS program together where folks can go onto the web, find their address, and we not only show the stormwater control measure present on their property, but we also have a link to some of the maintenance agreement documents that are recorded against the property, all in an effort to help educate people as far as what controls are on their property. And that's been a very successful program so far as people knowing what they have. Smaller thing that we did recently, we get a lot of concerns about trash hauling and what I call squeeze ache coming out of trucks and trash cans and whatnot. We work with our public works group who oversees our solid waste haulers, and when their licenses come up for renewal, we ask them as part of that to sign a certification statement that they realize there is some water quality aspect to what they do and that they'll pay attention to that. So that's more of a proactive public education activity, but something that we feel is going to have some benefits. We here in Nashville have an LID requirement as far as post-construction stormwater quality, which basically means if you're going to do that, it has to be some type of LID measure as your first consideration, like a bioretention or an infiltration trench, unless there's a hardship or a limitation to the site. So that's our criteria. We went in and did a study after we've been doing this for a while and had about 700 sites that had come under this regulation. And the one interesting thing I will share that by developing, or I would better say redeveloping some of these sites, they actually have less stormwater runoff over time than they did before they developed, plus they're getting the stormwater quality. So that was an interesting study that we did and found it to be supporting our treatment criteria as it relates to helping stormwater management. And I guess the last thing that I would mention is getting back to the One Water concept. We have worked with our wastewater treatment plants here in town, and one of the things that they fall under is the industrial multi-sector stormwater permit, and they do have to get that permit coverage in addition to their main NBDS permit. And one of the things that we have done in the last year or two is we've worked with those sites to try to get no exposure certifications so they won't have to pull those permits. And as many of you know, if you can avoid an NPDS permit, it's probably better for you. So we've had some success in that on that front in getting them on the no exposure list. I guess with that, I will close. Just some intangibles I'll throw out. I know I'm very appreciative of our staff. We have great staff. They're very conscientious. They're very resourceful. We have an office motto, positive, professional, and proactive, and I think every day they're looking at things that way, and they're focusing on water resource improvement, how that benefits the community. The one other thing I would add in ending as far as things we do in our program that might be viewed as beneficial. As a former NPDS permit writer with our state environmental agency, one of the things that I have always emphasized to our folks is as far as our permit requirements to try to comply and be working on every element. Sometimes with an MS4 program, it does get a bit harder on certain elements to move those forward. But we have always endeavored to be doing something on every element of our permit just to make sure that we're staying on top of things. So with that, I am going to close. I'd like to again thank WEF for this program, for this awards program. I know it was beneficial to us putting our application together. Sometimes you lose track on everything that you're doing as far as a program. It was good to kind of quantify everything again, but we are appreciative. We appreciate the recognition, and I would just say if anyone has any questions about our program, please feel free to contact me or one of our staff. I know when we were getting started and years ago, we had a couple of out-of-state MS4 permittees that really helped us, and they helped us going down helped us not to go down the wrong path in a couple of ways. It would have been pretty significant. So thanks again, and with that, I will close. Take care and be safe. Thank you.